Hello, friends, and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I am so excited to share with all of you all of the fantabulous books that I read in the month of June. Let's talk books. So, yay to June. June was indeed the month where I read the most books that I have read all year long. I am so excited to share those books with you. I have 11 total, so without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, so I've broken up the books into 4 categories. I think they're 4. So the first category of books that I'm going to share with you that I read in June are middle grades. The first book being Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. I was so excited to read this classic. I found myself devouring it, just being all consumed by it, having a smile on my face the entire time. It is the quintessential coming of age story, and Margaret does a great job of taking us on this life experience known as preteen teen years. She's moving to a new place. She is wanting so badly to be developing and growing and feels like she's so far behind from the rest of her new friends. And the list goes on and on of the wonderful encounters and interactions that Margaret has with the people around her. Her relationship with her grandmother was so endearing and brought to mind my relationships with both of my grandmothers, my maternal and paternal grandmother. I see why this is a favorite of so many people's, and I'm so excited that my daughters will get to enjoy this book as well. And then we have Class Act, written and illustrated by Jerry Craft. I read the first book in this series, known as New Kid, and was really excited to hear about this character that I fell in love with in New Kid. So Drew is not the main character in New Kid. Actually, Jordan is. And Drew was one of the friends that Jordan made when he came to this independent school that's a predominantly white school. Jordan lives in the inner city, lives around Brooklyn, New York, I believe, and was really feeling like a fish out of water in the school. And Drew was one of the friends that really helped him to adjust, if you will. Drew and Jordan also have a friend by the name of Liam who is super wealthy, comes from a super wealthy family. He is white, and that creates some interesting interactions among the 3 friends. And Liam so badly wants to seem relatable and to his friends, but he's living a completely different lifestyle, completely different world than Drew and Jordan. This book does an excellent job of taking some of those hard truths, those hard lived experiences that a lot of young students experience going to a school that's supposed to be helping them to do well in the world, to become their fullest best selves, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime, while at the same time they're feeling torn because in order to become that great person and achieve those great things, they feel like they can't truly fully be themselves in this space. And so you really get a chance to hear about that experience in a way that can also make you smile and laugh. It's not too heavy, yet it's very relatable and has a lot of lessons. So Class Act is a class act. So Witches of Brooklyn is a book that I read with my daughters. Gianna purchased this book at the Strand Bookstore during our New York City book haul, and she was just all about this book, so excited. And there was a lot going on in this graphic novel. There were a lot of characters, and we thought it would be fun to do a shared read of this book where Gianna would read all of Effie's parts. Effie is the main character. I would read the aunts, Carlotta and Celamine, and then Natalie joined us and ended up reading Celamine's part, and I read Carlotta's, and it was so fun. So we have Effie, whose mother, we are left to assume, passed away. We don't know exactly how, but she is sent to live with her 2 aunts that she really doesn't know anything about. These 2 aunts are witches, and Effie finds this out. She is really intrigued by it, and meanwhile, we have another layer to the story where this famous pop star that Effie loves so much has come down with this condition, this situation that the witches of Brooklyn, her aunts, can help her with. They're the only ones that can help her with it. And so Effie actually has this close encounter with her, pop star icon that she admires so much. And the story just continues to evolve and grow and go in these directions that are really quite fun. I'm smiling because it was a fun read. And it was really fun to read this with my daughters. I highly recommend Witches of Brooklyn. So Matilda was all I was hearing about for the month of June, because both of my daughters were in Matilda Jr., the musical, for musical theater camp. Also, we watched the movie Matilda, the 1996 movie, and Matilda, the Netflix film, is coming out in December of 2022. So this story took over the La Rosa house. It was just... the girls were all consumed by it. They were singing the songs from the musical, and Matilda just did not disappoint. The book was quite an adventure. The characters were so endearing, and the imagery that is laid out, that is created in words, just bring to life all of the scenes and situations, and even the characters that you want to hate, you end up laughing at or laughing with, most of the time laughing at. So it was a wild ride. I had so much fun listening to the audiobook. The narration by Kate Winslet was superb. It was an amazing audiobook experience. I highly recommend that you listen to the audiobook, and the young readers in your life will really find this book enjoyable. It's really timeless in its message. It's quirky, it's fun, it's emotional, good stuff. All right, moving along, I decided to read a play, and it was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom by August Wilson. August Wilson hailed from the Hill District of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am living in Pittsburgh, and I just really wanted to give myself the opportunity of reading his play before watching the film. And it's been a long time coming, you guys. I am a huge fan of Viola Davis's, and a huge, huge, huge fan of Chadwick's. I'm getting a little teary-eyed. It's hard for me to talk about him. And so I read the play and then watched the film with my husband, who is also a fan of Chadwick's. And it was just haunting to think that this man was so ill, but yet gave a performance of a lifetime in this wonderful, wonderful Netflix film. Kudos to Denzel Washington for doing such a great job directing this film, because it really brought the play to life. We have Ma Rainey in all her glory and sassiness. I am here for it. We have her band rehearsing. They're getting ready to, they're in the studio. They're getting ready to record. And it's so funny because this play essentially takes place in the recording studio practically the whole entire time. And it's just constantly moving. The dialogue is just ingenious. Like, I see why August Wilson is so celebrated, because he brought these characters to life this moment. You just got lost in their world and in their conversations and in the dialogue. I am going to share more with you about this later on in August. More details will be soon to come on my channel, so stay tuned. Layla Motley is a young author. And when I say young, this phenomenal author wrote the book Nightcrawling at age 17. I was reading this book, and with each page, I was just in a state of disbelief. Like, how could this young woman be so wise, so worldly, to be able to write such a deep, profound, moving story? I'm just blown away by that. Like, Aaliyah said age ain't nothing but a number, but honey, this number 17 for writing this book, this masterpiece, is like quite the accomplishment. So kudos to her. This is an Oprah's Book Club selection, and I'm all about Oprah's Book Club. I was kind of not in the mood for reading something so heavy. We are dealing with a character who is in the midst of a sex trafficking traumatic experience. I did not think that this would be a book I'd be in the mood for reading in June, but Miss Motley does a phenomenal job of making these characters real and accessible, and they move you deeply, and you're rooting for them. You want them to succeed. You want them to overcome. You don't want them to stay stuck in the situation. Yet at the same time, it really shows the humanity in all of us and really dives deep into why people end up making the choices that they make. We should really hold off on judging other people for numerous reasons. And this book just embodies and exemplifies why that should be the way we approach each other and approach life, with giving people grace and not judging. So essentially, Kiera and her brother Marcus are left alone. I'm not going to go into the details as to what happened to her father and her mother. I need you to read the book and find out for yourself. But because they're in this terrible situation of having to fend for themselves, they're like in their upper teen, early 20s, and the rent on their apartment is increasing. It's hard to get a job. So Kiera is just kind of ends up stumbling upon this opportunity that she would have never imagined herself taking, but she felt like she had no other choice. And from there, the story unfolds. I think you should read it. It is a wonderful work of art. Congratulations to Leila Motley. Woo! Y'all, I could do an entire video just on this book. So if you've been around on my channel, you will already know this. And if you don't know, go back and watch the videos to find out that I love me some Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Deisha Philyaw. And that has been my favorite read so far this year. And Deisha, I love you. I celebrate you. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies is still everything to me. And I have to also give some flowers to Lisa Cross Smith with Half Blown Rose. Ah! This book, you guys, like, I'm mad. Let me tell you why I'm mad. Because I went over on Goodreads, and what's up with this? It isn't even at a 4-star rating. Huh? Like, y'all, come on. Everybody needs this book in their lives. Barnes & Noble has made it a book club selection and are doing a whole book talk on this book in the month of July. And I'm just like, people better wake up. Because Lisa Cross Smith, listen, my love, I have never read any of your books up to this point. So I believe, I'm trying to look to see, there's so many books that she has written. This Close to Okay is probably the one that she's most known for. I'm going to go back and read them all. So we have Vincent, who is a Black artist, age 44, who's married to this Irish man. And he's an author. He writes a book titled Half Blown Rose, and he blows it with his wife by uncovering some secrets that he has in his life by writing this book that was kind of half autobiography, half realistic fiction. And she's had it. She's wealthy. She comes from generational wealth, which I loved having a Black character coming from generational wealth, because so often it's about Black pain and being down and out. And look, we are not a monolith. There are so many layers, so many stories. And I love that this was a story that I found to be refreshing and much needed in the literary canon. So Vincent has had it. She's like, oh, I can't handle this. And she goes to live in her parents' apartment in Paris while they are off in Rome doing what they do, because, you know, they got money to do whatever they want to do. And while she's there, this 44-year-old woman falls in love with a 24-year-old hottie. And honey, it gets steamy. I don't even want to tell you anymore for several reasons. First and foremost, I need to say, I don't have time to just spend on this book because I have many more to go. However, this book, get this book. It has romance. It has just drama to the max, but realism. It has it all. And I just think everyone will love this book if you are a fan of any of those genres, realistic fiction, romance. It's a book for you. And also traveling, like I don't usually read books about traveling, but this American in Paris vibe was everything. Half Blown Rose, I blow you a kiss. And segueing to my other romance read for the month, yes friends, I finally did it and read the much hyped, much talked about book, Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And just didn't do it for me in the ways that it has done for a lot of people. This was a 3-star read for me, and then like the last 80 pages or so bumped it up to 3.5 stars. We have Nora, who is a literary agent. We have Charlie, who is an editor in the publishing world. They have a first encounter, a business meeting that really was not productive. They clashed. They were just like enemies right away. They just got off to the wrong start. Fast forward 2 years later, they both land in this small town in North Carolina and run into each other. And I can't even say sparks fly. Not the kind of sparks that lead to romance. Like they kind of pick up where they left off in New York City when they met for that business meeting 2 years prior. And there's a lot of banter back and forth. And then there's a little bit of sexual tension. And then you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to get somewhere with these two. And I'm going to tell you guys, it was hard for me to believe. And I believe Erin from Booked and Busy said the same thing. And like, I watched her video review about it and I was like, yes, that. Like she said it so much better than I can. It was not even believable that these two would be attracted to each other. Like, unfortunately, it just didn't become real to me. Like, it was so unrealistic. Nora's sister, Libby, was very annoying to me. Their relationship was at an unhealthy state. They were really close and loving, and I loved that. But clearly, they both needed some therapeutic support, and there was a lot of tension between them, like quiet tension. They were like walking on eggshells, and it was just like, like it was okay. And I think after reading Half Blown Rose, I was like, this ain't doing it for me. It didn't deliver. And that's sad. I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to this. I mean, you've got books, you've got lovers, you got book lovers. I thought it would be my jam, but it was okay. Like a 3.5 star read. So, let me know what you think if you've read it already. You know, you don't have, we can agree to disagree. I love to talk books, so let's do it. All right, so then I read 3 nonfiction books. I cannot discuss this one, A Little Devil in America, because it is a part of the collection of books that I have to read for the BookTube prize. So I'm just gonna hold it up and say, read this in June. So that's that. And Danielle Smith came through with Shine Bright, a very personal history of Black women in pop. Danielle Smith is a wonderful music historian that actually inspired me to be interested in becoming a music expert historian person. She often would offer her expertise on various shows on BET, VH1, MTV. We see her now on other networks. And so this is a woman who knows her stuff about music, specifically Black pop, hip hop, R&B music. And she does a wonderful job of blending memoir with historical truths and facts and stories about some really significant Black women in the pop music genre. So I wrote down actually typed in my notes some fun facts and some things that kind of piqued my interest. I know quite a lot about music and music history, so it's not that I didn't really find out there weren't too many surprises for me, but there were some really interesting moments. So, one being the countless contributions of Cissy Houston, Whitney Houston's mom's group, Sweet Inspirations. I knew about this group of background singers and how they were singing for Elvis and so many other artists. I just didn't realize how many artists they sung for, and their contributions to music are just endless, and they're unsung heroes, pun intended. Also, Diana Ross's dad is from Bluefield, West Virginia, and I'm a West Virginian, so I was like, what? That is so cool. And her older sister is a doctor and just gave a commencement address at an osteopathic school in West Virginia. So now I get it. That might be why she felt like she could come back. The birth and death of disco, I've known a lot about that, and hearing how it connected with how disco music, the mothers of disco, the queens of disco, often most were Black women. It was almost like a direct attack on them. So taking that angle was really a new angle for me. Also, Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson's Scream drama with Scream the song, and how her vocals were kind of played down, like dimmed down, and Michael's were ramped up. I knew that story, and there's a whole lot more to it, but Danielle had a direct conversation with Janet. So a lot of times I heard rumors and hearsay, but for Danielle Smith, with her conversations with Whitney Houston and Janet and so many other celebrities, you're getting these firsthand accounts that were so refreshing and just really interesting and entertaining. So way to go, Danielle Smith. Love you. Love Shine Bright. And last but not least, we have Gentle and Lowly, The Heart of Christ for Sinners and Sufferers. I read this book with Krista over at Books and Jams, as well as a whole bunch of other fabulous booktubers that she had come to her weekly read-along discussions. And it was a wonderful experience to read in community with Krista and her booktube community. That's one of the reasons why I'm here on this channel. I love that opportunity. And this book was profound, and it was a book that I read like a devotional. I read a chapter a day. And if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Gentle and Lowly, head over to Krista's channel at Books and Jams and catch up on those video discussions. Okay, I was going to try to hold all 11 of those books up, but I am such a klutz. I'm not even going to go there. But what you need to know is I am so happy and grateful that you stuck around to watch this video. I do not take any of you for granted. Please let me know what your reading experience was like in the month of June by chatting it up with me in the comment section below. Also, if you want to know what I am reading this month, the month of July, check out this video right here, my July TBR, and let me know what your reading plans are for this month. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.